Nick Finelli here, Global Minecraft Mentor. Today we're going to be talking about classroom mode. And if you don't know about that, in Minecraft EDU there's a separate application you can run as a teacher to kind of do some controls in the classroom to make it a little bit easier. Now some of these commands and things like that you can actually do in-game, but this is more of a visual display, so a lot of teachers like using it. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to start up classroom mode, how to connect it, we'll review all of the features, and then we'll download it and show you that process. All right. The first thing you'll want to do is to open up the Minecraft world that you want to play in with other people. And so I'm going to click on play, and then I am going to create new and just new here. And we are going to make it creative, keep it peaceful, and do an infinite world, and we'll just call this Classroom 1. Only other things I want to make sure is that I have turned on activated cheats and make it easier for us always day, and show my classroom. We'll do perfect weather. That way we won't have any other obstacles to worry about, especially just getting in there. Now I'm going to click on play to start. Alright, so now that you're in your world, once your world opens up, you're actually going to escape out of it. And let's go ahead and minimize this. And now I'm going to bring up classroom mode. I can type in, because classroom mode is an application saved on your computer. So classroom mode for Minecraft, I click open. And I'm going to totally minimize this so you can see that you'll get the same sign-in screen that you did when you first had your Minecraft come up. So just go ahead and sign in. And now it says my classroom mode, and it's going to say server list, add server, and waiting room. Go ahead and click on waiting room, and then this command right here, copy it, and I'm going to put it back in my Minecraft world. Open it up full here, go ahead and resume play. And now I opened up the chat by hitting the letter T, and I'm going to Control V or paste that connect. And so you can see it's connecting the server right here. And so that's what it's actually doing, is this waiting room is doing. And then I hit enter on the right. And it'll say connection established to server. Okay. So now our next step is to invite other people in. But before I do that, let me kind of show you some of the controls here. So let's escape out, and we'll also kind of minimize this again and make it a little bit smaller so we can see both together. There we go. I'll move myself there. So now we're looking at this, and this is the world. This is where I am in the world. Notice the coordinates are moving at the top here. So you have your X, Y, and Z, so you can always tell wherever your mouse is about your coordinates. You also have a player roster, so anybody who's in the game will be listed over here. And then you have your chat. And we'll talk about the chat when we get in there with other players, so you can see the differences between chat when you have to check chat commands versus doing it in classroom mode. Now the features that I want to show you, pretty cool over here on the left. So if you click on this little bar here, the first one is it pauses the game for all players. So when I click on this, right now it's off, when I click on it, you'll see on the right here the game has been paused. Okay, so one button kind of controls, and you can get the attention of your class if you need be. It'll just pause everybody right in action. So I love that tool. That's a really nice one. I'm glad that it's also first. And I turn it back on, you can see everybody can be back in again. Other things you can do is you can disable chat for all players. So the chat will not work for players. Doesn't mean you can't send a message but if you disable it, type a message. It shows here that the teacher says hi, but everybody else's messages are not able to go back and forth. Then you can also turn on perfect weather or turn it off. So remember, I turned it off earlier before I came in. I could actually turn that off here. So I have that instant control without having to go back to my settings and say, oh yeah, I forgot to change this or something like that. Same thing with allowing mobs. So if you want to allow the mobile items that run around in Minecraft, allowing those to be on, the pigs, the animals, those things. So turning those on and off. Allowing destructive items or not destructive items. So that's like turning off TNT with a quick thing. Maybe it's just because you didn't realize somebody had done something to, blow something up or move things around so that it was, in a destructive way. You can also turn on player damage. Again, in survival mode, this is a way to turn those kind of things on and off. And then also prohibit world modification. So this is great after all your students are finished working and you want to just have everybody view around the world. You can turn that on and then there's no building, there's no crafting, there's no, basically they can't wreck or destroy anything inside of the world. And then the last part, and I can turn that back off so we can do that. The last part is if you are in survival mode and there's some way for players to hurt each other because you're going to see little hearts and stuff like that, you can actually turn off the damage from player to player. And so that's under this little box, and that's the main part of it. It's just a quick little thing here. I'm going to use my mouse scroll to kind of pull back. What's also nice is it have a nice map. So generally in Minecraft you don't have the entire map and you don't see, I wonder what this world looks like. So it looks like I have some rivers joining together. So it's kind of an interesting map that I have here. So now I'm going to pause it here and get some more players in so that we can see what it looks like and how you might manage players within this. So now I have to host the game. So I will go back. I'll just make this big and I still keep that open. And what I'm going to do is now go to my hosting and click on Start Hosting. And then confirm. And now what we have is my Rail Alex Fish. So if I go on another user account, which I have one right here to the side of me, there it is. And remember, when students join, they are not operators. So this is the operator symbol. This is a member symbol, which means they don't have necessarily all of the features that you do as an operator. So if I go back to resuming the game, I can see there is Vision right there. And just let you know, there I am, Wanda. And anyway, so we are now in this world together and we're in the same spot. So now let's look at what it looks like on the classroom mode. So let me escape and minimize this. There we go. So now we're in classroom mode and we're both here together. So it shows both students. They're listed here. If I went to type something in the chat, I could use this to type messages to everybody. And notice it says teacher, and that's what it will show up on the student too. So I can type in like a welcome message, and let me go back to resume game so you can see. That's what it will also say on the student device. It'll say teacher and then it'll say welcome, and then it'll, of course, fade away. And if the student writes back, then those notifications will also pull in there. So I'll get the student right back. But before we do that, let me do some things that we can also do. So I'm escaping out so I can do this. And the only reason I'm escaping out of it is because I want to be able to show you and highlight these. You can work with them simultaneously. It does have to be on the same computer. So now you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm just moving the world around here and go really close. And if I want to move someone, instead of having to do like a teleport or, dragging them or telling them somewhere, I can actually pick any name from here and drag it to a certain spot. And now I can put them on the other side. So now This, we're across the river, we could probably see each other, but we're in different spots. So if you have somebody going way far away or something like that and you notice them, you can always grab them from here and bring them together. Or if you want to bring all of your players together, you could use a slash command, but this is in classroom mode. It kind of makes it easier to visually see them moving around. So I'm going to type in a message here, and you can see the student message was currently disabled. Remember, I had turned it off. So let's go ahead and bring it back on. And the message actually didn't go through. It said it was actually disabled. So let's say I write back hello, and there it is. So you can also see by the colors, each student will have kind of a different color, and it'll have their student name. But this is a way I can kind of see the chat that is going on too, and not just between me and the student. It's the entire chat for the game. And so now, going into my game, we see that we're kind of across each other. So let's go ahead and resume. And there it is. So that's what I was able to do, is move this user to a different spot. And you can see now they're flying up, and now they're looking straight over here. So then I can go ahead and work with them, do whatever I may need to. But that's just an easy way to visually see what's going on with everybody in the classroom, assign some major things, and of course my favorite, and I'll go back to it again, is just being able to hit pause. Because as you're playing together and you're doing things together, you're going to want to pause the game, kind of reorganize things, check out people are doing, get some conversation going, and not just in the chat area, because that has to do with a lot of typing and you want them to be able to build and do things. Plus this just puts it in perspective of, as a teachable moment, being able to do things. But I do love that the coordinates show up too, because then you can say, oh, somebody's building something over here. Or let's say I even wanted to, let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's say I wanted to move us to a different part. I can actually drag myself and another person there. And now we are, even though there we go, I didn't hit the quick, I put the pause button on, I still was able to move, and now you can see we are hovering over water. So going back, you can see that's where I put it. And the way that I went back and forth like that, instead of having like the dual screen, is you can do Alt Tab. So hold down your Alt key or Command key, and then it just allows you to fluctuate back and forth, especially if you're in full screen for both mode. It makes it much easier to control. And then I can see kind of further what's going on in this world and move people more if I needed to. Looks like there's some things down there. Grab any users. There we go. And now I'm over here in front of this lava. So that's classroom mode. Hope you enjoy it. Now, if you like that, you're going to want to know how to download it. So here's what we need to do. We need to jump on over to education.minecraft, and you're going to go to support and downloads. And once you're there, this is the normal page where you would go and download it for updates and things like that. However, you're going to see really small here, and I'll make it very big anymore. And the reason is it's not necessarily a supported item. It's not something that they're constantly updating and things like that. But you'll see there's a classroom mode for Windows and a classroom mode for Mac. So as you're running on either one of those devices, you can download that. And notice, remember, it's a program you download, so it's different from a Chromebook or an iPad or something like that. But you can still join in other ways. But the classroom mode allows you to connect with the game or the world that you have open and be able to control it like we did. So you're just going to actually click on it, and both of these are quick downloads. And so any one of those you click on, you download, you install it, and then you run the procedures and steps that I showed you earlier. So good luck with classroom mode, and thanks for watching.